So the last time I went to a festival for more than a day was Reading Festival back in 2011, and to this day I still sometimes wake up in the night with horrible smell flashbacks to the long drop, which is the closest I think mankind has come to discovering what the gateway to hell looks like. Just thought I'd share that little anecdote.
Put the button back in the box.
Starring, amongst others, Joe Thomas, Hamid Animashorn, Claudia O'Doherty and Hannah Toynton, directed by Ian Morris off of a screenplay by Keith Akushi and Joe Parham, this is my review of The Festival. So The Festival is the story of Nick, played by Joe Thomas. He's just broken up with his girlfriend Caitlin, and his best friend Shane drags him along to the same music festival that she's going to be at with all of her friends. Shane wants to meet Hammerhead, a famous DJ, and the two of them meet a young girl named Amy, a very talkative girl who becomes part of their little crew on this adventure that they're on. So off the bat, it's difficult not to make comparisons to the Inbetweeners here for a number of reasons. It's not just that Joe Thomas, who was an Inbetweener, is in the cast. He's the main guy in this. And it's not just that Ian Morris, the director of the Inbetweeners, is directing this too. The problem comes from the fact that Joe Thomas's Nick is basically Simon. There's very little other than the fact they've got a different name to differentiate these two characters. They behave in exactly the same sort of way. They're both the same character, really. They're the same sort of person. The way he is with Caitlin is exactly how Simon was for Carly. There's no real difference there, and that becomes a bit of a problem because it's hard to look at this now without seeing it as an Inbetweeners movie that's missing 75% of the Inbetweeners. I like Joe Thomas, I do. He's a very nice actor. Like, he's fun to watch. He's a very sort of personable guy. Like, he's the sort of person that you can watch and sort of what he goes through resonates in a way. He's very good at that. He's very good at allowing the audience to sort of go along for the journey with him. But it would have been nice if there was something to make him stand out from Simon here, because it needed that. The Inbetweeners draws the sort of thing that'll probably drag a lot of people in to see this, but it ends up becoming a bit of a detriment to the film as well, because you don't really get anything that's in the same league as the Inbetweeners comedy-wise. That's not to say that this is a bad film, because it's not. Like, I enjoyed certain aspects of it. It was never a painful experience. It was never something that I didn't enjoy watching to a certain degree, but it was nowhere near the level of humour and the level of comedy that I was expecting based on the trailers and based on the talent involved. And the cast, I mean, they're fine, and there's no problems with them. I've mentioned Joe Thomas, he's basically playing Simon, but he plays that role well. Like, it's something that he's very seemingly comfortable doing. He knows how to play this sort of character. It's very much down his street. Hamid Animashorn is great as Shane. Like, he's not an Inbetweener sort of character. He's very different. He's his own character, and he's, again, very fun, as is the character of Amy. At first, she's grating, she's very irritating, but the character's meant to be, so that's fine. But there's an endearing quality to her as well. O'Doherty plays her very well. She treads that line between being annoying while also being at the same time somebody that you wouldn't mind too much spending time with. Like, she's a nice character, and the three of them do make for a fun trio. There's laughs to be had, and when it's Shane and Amy, the two of them together, I find that the characters work a lot more. Nick, he seemed to come into his own a little bit when he was off doing his own thing. The main problem I had, though, with the festival was that for a comedy, it's quite low on laughs. There are moments that are funny. There are a couple of moments that are very, very funny, particularly one involving a character named Gordy and his very early on overuse of drugs. Like, that's funny, and there are moments like that throughout that did make me laugh, but they don't come along all that often. There are large spells here where the jokes just failed to land for me, and a lot of the running time became a little bit boring in places. The film started to drag, and I wasn't expecting that from this one. It's only about 100 minutes long, so it's not an overly long movie, but at times it really felt like it was. And that's a big issue, particularly for a comedy set at a music festival, because there's so many ways to make funny situations out of how absurd festivals are. Like, when I went to a festival, there were so many really funny moments that just came out of nothing, so many absurd and strange moments that you just see from just walking around. And the festival does touch on that. It does give us little insights into that, but it doesn't focus in on it as much as it should. It instead goes for more broad comedy, and kind of comedy that's just manufactured out of situations, like one involving a prosthetic leg, for example. It doesn't play to its strengths, I don't think, enough. And it goes to some really weird places as well, and I like weird. I'm cool with weird. Weird moments in comedy I'm on board with, but there has to be a reason for it to go weird. It has to make sense narratively. And I don't want to spoil anything, but when you get to a sequence of two of the characters going into the woods, this is one of the bits that I'm talking about where it's just, what? What are we seeing here? Why have we gone off in this direction? And there's a couple of moments at that. One involving Hammerhead as well, that just kind of takes a situation and stretches it to the point where it's no longer believable. And as I say, a festival is ridiculous and crazy and funny in its own way. You don't need to have these moments that stretch that credibility, because the actual place itself is so ridiculous and so silly and so much fun that funny things will naturally come along. So I don't know why they had to go like 20 steps beyond the realm of believability. And they do on 2 or 3 occasions here, and they're big moments as well. They're not just small throwaway moments. Like, one of them's the whole ending of the movie, really. The whole sort of climax of everything is just one of those things where you can't relate to it anymore because it's just gone so absurd and so over the top. But as I say, there are moments here that I did enjoy. There's some nice cameos in this. Jermaine Clement is... I love Jermaine Clement. He's great in here. He's not in it a huge amount, but when he is, he steals the scenes. You've got Nick Frost, who's somewhat wasted here. He's not used to his full potential, but it's always nice to see him. And perhaps the best of the bunch is Noel Fielding. I didn't know what role he was playing based on seeing him in the trailer, but he does play a good one, even though he does play into what I was saying before about things going a little bit too far, believability-wise, but it's still fun to see him. It's a film where the 3 central characters really hold it up. They're enjoyable to spend time with, particularly Shane and Amy. The 2 of them, I could watch a whole film of just them. So aspects like that do carry the festival forward and do stop it from being bad, but at the same time, it's not one that I overly recommend rushing out to see. I was expecting it to be a lot funnier than it was. I was expecting the joke ratio to be a lot higher than what we actually got. As I say, it's just a shame that more of the jokes missed than I found hit, despite there being some truly funny ones in there. I'm going to give the festival a 6 out of 10. Have you seen the festival yet? If so, let me know what you think of it in the comments below. And just another random question, in between there's 1 or 2. What's your favourite of the 2 of them? I kind of like the second one more than the first, although both of them hysterical movies. But yeah, let me know that too. You can follow me on Twitter at JoeJulians. Do hit like and subscribe if you want to see more of my videos. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.